let's move on. Last topic, Dave. It's the Bulls. Only the Bulls. This one I had to throw in there only because it breaks my heart. It fucking breaks my heart to see this happen. So the article is because the Mavericks have inquired about. So the Mavericks have inquired about Oladipo, LaVine, and Spencer Dinwiddie are the three. That's another topic for another day. But I wanted to look for the Zach part because on Twitter today, I was perusing, and although not sponsored, if you're a Bulls fan and you do not follow this person, go ahead and follow him. Bulls Scripted. He's got great tweets. Getting into conversations with him on Twitter is great. And they're conversations that are actual conversations that you're not shouting at one another, which is nice. But he put out 2 tweets today that had to deal with the Zach stuff before it happens. The first one I have here is expect the Bulls to tell teams that Zach is unavailable. Tipping their hand before they make their draft selection would mean tipping their hand on who they're after to. And if the right deal doesn't come or a prospect doesn't fall, alienating him for nothing wouldn't be wise. The other one had to do with what the Bulls could do in a draft and a Zach trade. It says, if the Bulls were to draft Ball/Edwards, Zach's seconds start to count down to his departure. And as a Zach LaVine fan, it'd suck. But as an unattached new FO front office, if one of the 2 highest upside players in this draft are obtainable from 4, and you could then comfortably trade your current base asset, and that's Carl from The Simpsons going,
yep.
Dave, does LaVine get moved? Is he no longer the future in Chicago?
I don't think he was ever the future in Chicago. I think a lot of people saw him as a transitional piece. He's a very good player with high athleticism, great moments. But I don't think that anybody was like, this is our championship piece that we're building around. I think a lot of people are like, he could be the 2nd or 3rd best player on a championship caliber team.
Okay.
And I don't disagree with that. But I don't think that necessarily means we have to move on from him. I don't think drafting Anthony Edwards means we're done with him. I don't think that drafting Lonzo Ball means we're done with him. I think that with a capable coach and a capable front office, we can make a lot of personnel moves. Now, if there's an offer that is too good to refuse, we better fucking take it. I said it before. On this roster, I don't think there is an untouchable guy outside of perhaps Kobe White. And that is where I stop. Like, I think Wendell Carter has incredible upside. You love him for the right reasons. He hasn't been healthy, and we used him wrong. Lauri Markkanen has been used wrong. Don't know what he could be. But again, health is one problem. And then when you give him opportunities, is he too timid? Does he not provide that ability to shot block at the rim? You know, what do we want out of these players? Yes, Zach's our best player by a country mile. But, like, if we can get a great haul for him and we're adding a star in the draft,
and does he fit the timeline?
Not?
Like,
what's
the new timeline of the Bulls?
Like, we're looking at super teams fucking assembling like the goddamn Avengers everywhere, and it's like, what do you want to do? We're at the bottom of the league for a reason. We need to reset our assets and get our ass on a timeline. Now, I think we were the 2nd or 3rd youngest team in the NBA last year, which is fine. But now it's about reestablishing a culture. Now it's about finding out who's our real core moving forward and putting them in a position to succeed and getting the right role players around them. So, like, there are a lot of steps that have to be done in order to get us to where we need to be. Now, the one I love to think, and I don't know if it's possible, is moving on from him for someone. See, even like to me, like Karras isn't even like a guy who I would be like 100% in on.
Karras,
like in my mind, I was like maybe Karras, but again, he's an older guy. He's already, I think he and Zach are the same age, or Zach's younger than him actually.
Okay.
So like that's a crazy thing. Like he came in legal older, but like I'm trying to think of anybody who is young. Like JD's saying, picks or young good player. Like who's a young good player who would make you want to move on, or a pairing of player plus picks who would make you want to move on from Zach LaVine? I mean, not many guys put up 25, 5, and 5. Like that's that's just shy of Devin Booker range.
And that's why if the question is, are you trading Zach this offseason or this season?
Should be no.
I say no. I say what you say, Dave. let Billy Donovan mold the clay. Like, put the clay in front of him, let him mold it. Next year is the clock then, because next year is the contract year for Zach LaVine. And I know Zach loves it here. Everything here, he loves it here, wants to win here. And, like, I feel like that's why I love Zach, not just the moments he brings.
Moments too.
Like,
I'd say that Hornets game.
Oh, the Hornets game, the fucking he had a good game when we went to see him play the Sixers. Sorry, Jake.
He did. He just started
call a better
nailing
fucking play next
shot,
time.
and you felt the arena heat up.
It was just like watching him play, hearing him talk about the city. You actually feel like he wants to be here, feel like he wants to win. And it's like, that's what I want in a guy. And I feel like this team can eventually win a championship with Zach LaVine on it. I'm going to say that. It depends on what's around it. It's just, if you're talking about the Mavs deal I threw up, it's exactly what the Discord said earlier. If the Mavs are looking at Zach LaVine, the answer is no, because they don't have, like, the best offer I could put up on Trade Machine is Jalen Brunson's probably the only young player that the Mavs would want to move on from, and I'd be interested in, because, like, Justin Jackson's a 1-year deal. Seth Curry, they're not moving on from. Other young players. I look at the roster, like Willie Cauley-Stein. Do I even want Willie Cauley-Stein? That's the first thing I say.
No, we don't.
And then, like, their pick this year intrigues me. What I can get for their pick in I think it's the, like, late teens is their pick. I think it's like 18 is where they're at. I can get someone there, but yet again, then I'm adding, like, do I get a future first? It's like the best deal I have is Hardaway Jr., Brunson, this year's first, and a future first. No. And the only reason I have to add Hardaway Jr. is, yes, he's done at the end of the year, but it's contracts. Like, that's the only reason I have to do that. And it's like, the Mavs don't have enough of a deal for the Bulls, and I don't think there is an offer that somebody can offer me this offseason that I would say, yes, pull the trigger on a Zach LaVine deal.
What if Memphis called? And Memphis wanted to move Dillon Brooks, Justice Winslow, and Grayson Allen.
So
I threw Grayson Allen in because I'm selfish.
Yeah, Dillon Brooks, Grayson Allen, and what was the middle name?
Justice Winslow. It's really just Justice and Dillon. I threw Grayson in because I like Grayson Allen a lot more than people should.
Yeah, I don't know if I would take that. I would need, like, instead of Grayson or instead of Dillon, I would picks. Like, I would want picks from the Grizzlies, because
really,
I don't think the Grizzlies are going to be. Yes, they were near the playoffs this year.
Literally just a playoff team almost.
But I think that this is a team that I'm banking on them being in the lottery, and then I'm fucking letting the lottery balls or the NBA rig machine.
That's fine.
Give me a number one pick.
I think that they absolutely could do that too.
Mm-hmm.
They could include picks. I like the idea of a Justice Winslow, though. I think he's someone who, yes, I know he's got the injury concerns, but again, high floor kind of guy as far as what he can do, and then he has a high ceiling on top of that. Like, I'm hoping he's got that, later career arc where he hits his prime later. But I mean, like, we saw him do awesome things playing point guard for the Heat a year and a half ago now, and I would be really interested to know, like, having a big-bodied wing who can do that for us would be very intriguing to me. And I think Dillon Brooks is just kind of a filler guy for contract, because he and Zach, similar to some degree, Jalen Brooks has the ability to hit every shot and then the next game miss every shot. Like, he has the wild career average. Like, his career average looks okay. And you're like, 27, 12, and he missed 11 shots. Like, he will be all over the place kind of a player. So, like, he's not the most consistent man in the world, but, like, he could be a fire starter. But yeah, like, I don't know. It was just, it was an idea I had in a team who has young assets who they're trying to flip. I think a deal around Justice Winslow would be interesting to me. So,
Dave, the thing I said we're going to dog here really quick with Fred VanVleet, because it dealt with the Bulls, is today in the Discord we were having conversations, and the one thing I said is we were talking about Fred VanVleet wanting money. Does he get paid? Where does he go? The contract that was thrown out there that some thought were a little bit too high is 4 years, $90 million. I think we settled on maybe 4 years, $80 million, which $10 million being the kind of denominator between the two. But I said I'd pay for VanVleet to come home to Chicago. And I said, like, Rockford boy, bring him home. And it's like just one of the things of, could the Bulls be in a place to, I don't think you can make the deal without LaVine being involved. But, like, is there a way that the Bulls can maybe say, hey, we're going to go after it. We're going to get a Fred VanVleet instead of taking a point guard, or would the fourth have to be involved? Like, is Fred VanVleet a player?
Not under contract.
Well, it'd be a sign. Like, if the fourth was involved, it would be like a we pick and then sign and trade. He signs, trade him to us. That player that we picked it for is involved.
I mean, like, that's my question. Is like,
I mean, but that's to me. I think that in
my mind, you only sign and trade when you're in a contract situation, like when you are up against the cap, or when you are in a position where you can't get the deal done by talking free agency.
There's also the situations of, hey, like we've seen it very rarely, but it's like hey, I'm gonna do you a solid going out. I'm gonna sign and trade so you get something rather than me just signing right up with a team. Like I said, very small examples.
When has that happened?
I feel like I would have to Google it, but I feel like there was a couple times we were like, oh, well, he could have signed right away, but they did a sign and trade instead.
Okay.
I would have to Google it.
I'm thinking, and I literally can't think of a single time where that's happened.
Okay.
Like, that's why I'm like, I understand what you're saying, and I don't think it's impossible. I just don't know that I've ever seen it happen, or I can recall it right now.
Because as long as the person gets their money, why wouldn't the Raptors ask, hey, sign and trade instead of? Because isn't there something where the Raptors can offer more money because they drafted the player? Like, doesn't Fred VanVleet fall under that?
They'll have additional contract control over him.
Wouldn't
but he was a second-round pick, right? Or undrafted.
Oh, you might be right. Yeah, you're right. So he's not a first-rounder.
Traditional contract.
Okay. Lawyered.
But I mean, the point is, like, Fred gets to pick where he wants to go. If where he wants to go lines up with the trade, then maybe that's something they try to figure out. But, like, in my mind, Fred wants the bag. Whether it's in New York or in Chicago or on some other team, that's where he's going to go. Like, I think his idea is the Raptors don't want me enough to pay for me. So why would I do them a favor?
Do we know that for sure yet, or is that just
we don't?
Okay,
we don't. And especially with the current.
Do you think it's inferred with his comments about wanting to get paid, or is that just him being like, "No, I want
negotiating"?
My money? Okay,
that's probably just a bit of negotiating. I mean, the thoughts are like, hey, Serge Ibaka is a name who a lot of teams are very interested in, but I think the Raptors, if they were smart, would try to bring him back.
Yeah.
Over Fred VanVleet, who I think they have guys who can fill in a similar role to a lesser extent.
Yeah.
And be all right with. So I think that he's just not necessary there anymore. And as much of a fan favorite he is, and Dad VanVleet was insane. He went supernova hot.
Dad mode.
Won them a championship, but Kawhi won, but he helped a lot. They wouldn't have got there without him. But
no, they wouldn't have. Dave, any final thoughts on anything that going on in the NBA world? Anything that you think? Oh,
love the NBA world. Keep the dramas coming. Russell Westbrook to the Hornets now. I
also saw Russ to the Bulls. Mentioned that to you before we started.
Yep. So apparently, it is not just a Knicks or Clippers situation anymore. More teams by the minute.
Quickly before we end the show, did you hear the rumor about what James Harden had said to Austin Rivers?
Yeah, I heard that one, and then I heard the one about the going around the locker room. Russ was giving people critiques. It was like they had lost the game, and Russ was like, I need to fix this about myself. You need to fix this. You need to fix this. You need to fix this. And when he got to James apparently refused to acknowledge, any criticism or wrongdoing in that situation. And I'm like, oh, this is not doing him any favor right now. Like James has been put on a image destroying trend right now. Like he's on a bad track.
Which Jake, Sixer fan, he's all excited because he's like, it's gonna drop that trade price down. Just drop it.
If they get James Harden for like Horford, Toby, and a couple picks, I'm gonna flip a table.
Well, Jake says Ben would be in Houston, Dave, so you don't have to worry. At least Ben would be
That's
in
why I'm
there.
like, not that low of a deal, but yeah, okay.
For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, the tweet I found, it said, James Harden blamed Austin Rivers for his missed free throws. In another instance, Rivers was barked at by Harden after the former MVP missed a free throw and blamed Rivers, who was standing up by the bench, for distracting him.
It's great. I flip a lot of tables.
Flip a lot of tables.
Good point. That's like 8 table flips already. Hey, when it happens, it happens.
I also love Sacktown Baby Giraffe says, Chris Paul, I hate it here. Clint Capella, I hate it here. Westbrook, I hate it here. Rivers, I hate it here. Gordon, I hate it here. PJ Tucker, I hate it here. Most of Rockets Twitter. I love James Harden's loyalty to this team. He's the best. So we're going to have to see what happens with that shit show. But we'll be back tomorrow, guys. Thank you for checking us out. We'll be back tomorrow's Football Friday. So we're going to have to put the NBA toy to the side for a little bit unless something really groundbreaking happens. But tomorrow's Football Friday. Thank you guys you got to join the Discord if you have not. Link down below if you're on YouTube, /Discord. Get you into that channel. If you are not in it, go ahead and do it. Because like I said, best community on the internet. If you want to support us, patreon.com/MVP-vids. Thank you to our Patreon sponsors, Pat Hill and Philly Sean. You can also throw us a sub on Twitch, where we're live every Monday through Friday, twitch.tv/MVP-vids. We're also on YouTube, though, at MVP Sports as well. Thank you guys for watching, listening, commenting, doing what you do. And as always, have a good day, everybody.